It's our time. It's our time. Hey there, I'm Shub from North of Normal, and this is One Song, One Story. The concept is simple. Each guest brings a song, and together we explore what it means to them, the memories it holds, the feelings it unlocks, the story it tells about who they are. Today's episode is about resilience, fear, and the kind of strength you discover when life gives you no choice but to find it. I'm joined by Colleen Grimshaw, who shares how a single song became her anchor during one of the most challenging chapters of her life. We talk about diagnosis, uncertainty, the loneliness of late nights, and how music can become a mantra when words and reassurance fall short. The song Colleen brings didn't just comfort her, it helped her believe she could keep going. I hope you guys find it as inspirational as I did. Enjoy. Welcome to the One Song, One Story podcast, Colleen Grimshaw. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you. And you?
I am very, very well. I'm very envious. You were talking before, you're in Florida today, right?
That is correct.
Mm.
You can see the sunshine through the background.
Yes. And you were saying you called it a snowbird. So you are escaping the snowy climes of Fulton, New York, to be in the Florida sunshine. Yeah.
Yes. Making
Yes.
everyone at home very jealous. Yes, they have 4 feet of snow. They have 4 feet of snow, and we do not.
You've got it right. I think you've got it right. And what time is it there with you today?
It's 2:20 p.m.
Okay, halfway through the day. And if your day so far was a song, what would the title of that song be? And what would the vibe be?
Lovely to see you. And the vibe is in where I live in Florida. It's a community, and there's always someone to chat with. It's just lovely to see the people here.
Very nice. How long have you been going there?
This is our,
Okay, cool. So you know the place, and do you see a lot of the same people there at the same time?
yes. What brought us here was my mother and father wintered here as well. And when my mother became needy and ill, I needed to be close to her. So we said we will come and be here. And then when she passes, we'll do something different. And in the meantime, we met friends and people from all over because they're escaping their winter. So now we're here. So yes, this is our 10th season here.
Fantastic. I love the way you just said wintered. That is not a word in my vocabulary, but I need to start wintering somewhere, I think. Yeah, as you can tell by the giant scarf, I am very much in the midst of the British winter. But we are past the worst of it now, I hope. So I'm focusing on spring and look forward to some brighter, lighter days and a bit more warmth. So that's what's keeping me going. Now, it's worth saying that we have never previously met. So it was our mutual friend, Jim Farfaglia, who you call Jimmy Farfaglia, who is the author of the book, or is currently writing the book, One Song, One Story, and has been a guest on the podcast. And he suggested you come on the show because I understand you've already submitted your story to his book. Is that right?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah. And how do you know Jim?
Jim is a friend from high school. I've known Jim for over 50 years. Let's see, 58 years. So my husband and Jim were best friends in high school. And then when I started dating my husband in high school, Jimmy was my friend as well. So
yeah.
We've known
cool.
we have known Jimmy a long time. Yes. And we have
Brilliant.
supported him in all of his writings and his projects.
I was just saying to you before I came on, I think I've probably known Jim a month and I miss talking to him. I feel like it's an old friend and I should definitely give him a ring. I think I'd love to catch up with him, but fascinating man. And when we were talking about the work he's doing with his book and people submitting stories, he was he was telling me an anecdote that some of the people that have submitted stories live locally. So when he'll go down to the grocery store and he'll bump into something and into someone, and the first thing he thinks of is their song, and he has it playing in his head. I was like, it's so cool. And you've brought a great song today. I think one that a lot of people will know. And I'm really excited to get into it and explore the story a bit more behind it, because I think the story is equally powerful. But before we do, in terms of music itself, what are your earliest memories of kind of really listening to music or falling in love with a particular song?
Listening to music, my grandparents, Lawrence Welk, so I was always around some kind of music. But my earliest memories that shaped my music was my aunt.
Yeah.
My father's brother, we adored our aunt. She was cool, she was hip, and my sister and I would go and spend time with them, and she would put her records on and we would dance. It was Peter, Paul and Mary. It was, I'm trying to think of, I'm having a hard time coming up with some of them, but yes, and we would dance in her living room, and she would dance with us, and a lot of that. That's my earliest memories of actually albums, music on a stereo was with
Yeah.
my aunt.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
then using my conversation with Jim, if you were in school with him at a similar age, and you two would have been in your kind of formative years through the 60s and 70s. So what sort of stuff were you listening to? What were your tastes at that time?
I did a lot of listening to pop
Mm.
music. However, in 1969, I was introduced to the Moody Blues, and they became my go-to. I listen to the Moody Blues channel in my car. Um, they are my big go-to. Carole King was a real big go-to.
Yeah,
James Taylor. Uh, Pretty much, I think every teenager, that's what we all tuned into. Um, Three Dog Night. Um,
that Carole
a lot
King
of pop.
album. Yeah, that Carole King album. Like, it sounds of the time, but I can put it on today and listen to it, and it still blows me away. It feels like it just hasn't aged, even though you know it's from a certain era and it sounds like a certain era. It just feels timeless. The songwriting, the sound, her voice. I could listen to that over and over again, I think.
I was fortunate. I went to New York City to see Beautiful on Broadway, and it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous. And to think she wrote all those songs that other people sang and were produced, it's like, I didn't know she wrote that. She wrote that. She was with James Taylor on this one. So yes, uh,
Wow,
that
I didn't
has a
know
lot.
that
Yeah.
either.
Yes.
That's so cool.
So
And what sort of role does music play in your life now? So you mentioned you're a snowbird, you winter in Florida, you play golf. Yeah, you sound like you have a lovely life right now. Is music something that's a big part of your life still?
yes, yes. My husband and I like to dance. So where we live, they have a dance once a month, and we go and they play music from our era, and we dance. My granddaughter loves music. She's 12, going on 13. So I try to keep up with her music and dance with her. And then our youngest granddaughter's 2, and I like to listen to her music and sing with her. Music has a lot. It's always on.
Mm,
It's in the when we're in the car, when we have people over, we have music in the background just to set the scene.
yeah,
I just think, yeah, music is every day.
very nice. And what's your 12, 13-year-old granddaughter listening to now? And what do you think of it?
Sabrina Carpenter.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, so she got to go to see Sabrina Carpenter in concert, and she was just all thrilled. K-pop, it was on television. I think K-pop hunters or something. She loves
Yeah,
that music. Taylor Swift.
of course, of
Loves Taylor
course.
Swift. Yes. She loves Taylor Swift. When I try to get her to listen to some of the things I like, it's like, no, no, no. So, um,
Really?
I'm old.
Wow, it's so interesting, isn't it? The music is kind of so worlds apart from what they're listening to nowadays, and maybe
But
they
it'll
just
I
don't.
think it'll come I think it'll come around because, you get some of these teenagers and they're listening to Pink Floyd and all
Yeah,
of those bands that were popular when I was in my teens.
yeah, I think so. And it's so accessible nowadays. I think, if you're a
Mhm.
12, 13-year-old and you're not really connecting with Taylor Swift, it's so easy to go and find some old music. Whereas, talking to Jim was like you have to go down record shops to sift through records. Now it's just a quick search on your iPhone and you've got the entire history of music for a good 100
Yes.
years,
Yes.
so you can really
You
find
didn't
stuff you're
yeah.
into.
You didn't have to save your allowance to be able to go to the record shop to purchase the records,
Yeah.
or, the albums. Now my granddaughter tells Siri what she wants to listen to, and up it comes. And
Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's interesting what you say about things coming back around because I'm always fascinated. Like, certainly here, they will still have 70s nights and 80s nights. And I thought that was a generational thing. I kind of thought, like, that's people of my age or people a bit older still trying to hang on to those nights. But those eras just seem like everlastingly popular. There's something about the music from those eras. And I always wonder how long that will go on
Mhm.
for. Like, if you go 50 years in the future, will they still be having 70s nights going, God, what a decade of music that was? Or will they be having, 2020s? Yeah, I hope so.
Yes, some of our music was instrumental for peace, and some of our music was great dance music, the moves. It'll be around for quite some time.
Yeah, I hope so. Only time will tell. Um, but Colleen, I think it would be a great time to find out a little bit more about your song and your story. But I think before we do, a quick heads up for anyone tuning in for the first time is that this isn't a deep dive into music theory or production tricks or anything like that. This is a show about the stories behind songs and the way they become part of who we are. So if you haven't heard the track we're about to explore with Colleen, take a second to pause, give it a listen, and then come back. And I think you'll feel the conversation just hits a little deeper once the song is in your head. So, Colleen, could you please tell us the song you've chosen to bring with you today, please?
Okay, my song is Titanium.
And that's by David. I don't know how to pronounce it. Is it David Guetta and Sia?
I say Guetta. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
waiting
yeah,
for you to pronounce it because I'm thinking I'll murder it. By David Guetta with Sia.
yeah. And it's a fantastic, powerful song. And I'm always curious before we get into it. Was that kind of an easy choice for you when I reached out? Were there other options in there, or straight away was it? This is the song I have to talk about.
Well, I went with what I had written to Jim. Jim asked me to if something, and I thought about it a long time, and that probably has the most impact. I mean, many songs always bring me to a different era and a different emotion, but that's just deeply very personal to me right now and has been. So, as a matter of fact, I had a friend going through a time and said, "Listen to this song. You
Mhm.
may get some strength from it." So, when you asked me, I said, "Yeah, that's my son."
Yeah,
I still stick with
fantastic.
it. Yeah.
And to set the scene a little bit, can you take me back to the moment when you first heard it? Like, where were you? Who were you? What was happening in your world?
I was in the car and I was listening to the radio station from home, Q, and I was driving and I heard the song and I heard the chorus and I said, "Wow, wow, this is." I've got to hear this again. So I went home and I pulled it up so I could hear it again. And I said, this is powerful. And a lot of emotion came out. Uh,
Mm.
a lot of emotion came out when I first heard it. So this could be me. This could be me. How can I make this me? So again, a lot of emotions came up. So um, there was a lot of crying. And so, and I just, I don't know, the chorus. The rest, some of the song has nothing to do, but it was definitely the chorus, especially the part where if you knock me down, I'm going to get back up, and you can't because I am made of titanium. So
Yeah, yeah. So it
yeah,
was that.
I was in the car. Yeah, I was in the car, and it was the start of my diagnosis, and it was a very rough time. And I I guess maybe I was looking for something because it just happened to play. It was a new song at the time. It hadn't been out that long because again, the radio station that I was listening to played the top 40 kind of things.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what hit you most about it at the time? Was it the lyrics of that chorus, or was it the sound or the energy? Can you talk to us about what you kind of felt in that moment at all?
Definitely the lyrics and definitely the energy that Sia puts into it. She sounds powerful. She sounds like, "I've got your back. You can do this." I felt encouragement. I felt her power coming through.
Mm.
I felt I could do this. So
Yeah. And
all of the
interestingly,
above. Yeah. I
when I
mean,
was
the lyrics were what grabbed me first. You know, the lyrics grabbed me first. And then when I really thought about it. So
Interestingly, you mentioned Sia and the power of her vocal. When I was looking into this song, they just brought her in to put down a kind of a placeholder track before they went and found someone else to sing it. And when they heard what she did, they were like, I don't think anyone else can sing this. This is like the most rawest, most powerful emotion coming through in her voice. So they ended up just keeping her on the track. And I think when you listen to it, you hear that, but you kind of couldn't imagine anyone else singing that song. It feels written for her, I think.
wow, that's informative because I didn't realize that. I thought that the song was designed for her.
Yeah,
That was very interesting.
yeah.
So I don't know if you watched the video. The video, did you watch the video that goes with this song? And
No,
then like,
no, haven't watched
I'm
it.
glad I didn't. I was glad that I didn't see a video, that I only was able to hear the words and hear the music because if I watched the video, it wouldn't, I don't think the song would have meant that much to me. But just by itself, then I could form my own opinion of it. So just hearing
Yeah,
the lyrics,
yeah. Um, you
it could
mentioned
become my
there,
story and not someone else's.
yes, absolutely. You mentioned there you heard this in the early days of your diagnosis. Are you comfortable talking about that with us and what was happening for you at the time?
Yes, yes, I am comfortable. I was diagnosed um, on our anniversary with breast cancer. And there was breast cancer in my family, but way, way removed. So it came as a complete shock. I was positive they had the wrong person, must have mixed up my records with someone else. A lot of
Mm,
denial and very, very, very frightened. Cancer is a word that frightens everyone. And I was very, very frightened. And had a biopsy and they confirmed. And then it's the unknown. What's happening next? And you don't know. And there's many paths that you can take. And all I kept thinking was, I'm going to be ill. They're going to make me sick. I'm going to be one of the people that has lost their hair and they're very, very ill all the time. They're going to poison me with chemo. And
mm,
it pretty much occupied my thoughts 24/7. Also, any tests that you have to make sure this is a diagnosis were very scary because an MRI is in an enclosed space and I'm claustrophobic. So a week before my MRI, I couldn't sleep. I was very, very, very nervous and couldn't sleep. And I don't think I'll be able to make it. They're going to put me in a tube. It's going to be small. I can't breathe. They want you to lay still. And I thought, I can't do this. And in the middle of the night, I was panicking, and there's nothing you can say to stop the panic. So I would listen to wails that didn't work. So then I would put on titanium and just keep playing it over and over and over again. And the more I listened, the more I thought, okay, maybe I can do this. Maybe I can do this. And then it would be the light of the day. And in the light of day, things are better. But at night, when it's dark and there's no one around and you lose all logical thinking, you lose all rational thinking. And that's what grounded me. That song grounded me in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's incredible. I'm a songwriter, but a deeply passionate about music, a huge fan of music, but it's just quite incredible that someone has written a song that can be as such an aid to you. And also incredible how it seems to have found you in a moment where you really needed something. And can you talk to us a little bit more? I hope I'm not asking you to repeat yourself about what you really think it offered you in that moment. Like you talked about hearing it and there was a huge release and tears. And could you talk to us a little bit more about what you felt in those moments when you listened to this song?
I felt empowered. I felt her strength and I felt stronger. After a while, felt like I was believing that I could be titanium. Just that, what can I do or how can I be this person that if this cancer really does come at me, how can I fight it? Which it's not a thing to fight, but how can I be so that I am strong and it's not going to put me down and I'm going to overcome this? And after a while with that song, I started to believe that I could. I mean, she has a very powerful voice. I mean, she really gives it that, I am titanium, and I would sing it very loud in the car. I am. And, singing along with her, I felt powerful. And I felt like she had my back, I guess. I don't know. And I can do this. I can do this. Um, you're a mom and you take care of everybody. And so you're trying to juggle taking care of your needs without anybody else, without bothering anybody else. I didn't want my son to worry, and this was a moment that it was like, okay, you can do all this, you can go through this and you can take care of this. And you can take care of them too. So, yeah.
That's powerful.
It was a lonely, yeah, at night, it just seemed like I was alone and lonely, and I would just play it and wouldn't feel that way. I would feel empowered. And again, I still, when it comes on the radio or I play it, I'm still like, yeah, I can do this.
I'm wondering how many times you've listened to this song now.
At times. That whole emotion that when I heard it kicks in, I get energized. I feel like, come at, whatever, I can do this, I'm in control. So especially when the 2 weeks before Christmas, when again, there was a concern that my cancer had returned. And it was like, okay, I need a little bit of help here, okay, I listened to the song. I got that feeling back again. I got energized and said, I'm in control. I am in control. I can do this. I can take care of this and I can map it out. So yeah,
amazing.
it still always, even when I'm not in need of it, I still feel empowered when she sings. When I hear those
Yeah,
words,
yeah,
I
yeah.
still feel empowered.
And I love the way you were saying you're singing along to it. I mean, I think, there's research into singing itself has a great physiological effect, but it starts to become mantra. It starts to become you telling yourself these words, repeating yourself to these words. And I guess when it comes on again, like you mentioned there, it's like muscle memory. It's like just bringing back all those feelings of saying this to yourself over and over again. So it's almost like feels like this has become your mantra for strength. And it feels like it's gone in so far that you truly believe this, which must be a very powerful feeling.
My heart starts to race. It starts to speed up. I mean, I have a physical reaction to the song. My heart speeds up. I get excited. I get energized.
Mm.
And if I'm in the car alone, I belt out those words.
Yes, I love being in the car alone and just being able to sing to big songs. There's nothing quite like it. Um, and you kind
No,
of
there's not. And I can't carry a tune and no one cares in the car.
exactly.
Excuse me.
And you talked there, obviously, after the diagnosis, this was a song, and you talked about the MRI and things like that, and the fear you had around that. This was a song that you listened to lots to really try and summon some strength. What happened from there?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
From there, a surgery for a lumpectomy, and it was not successful. And then they broke the news that I would have to have a mastectomy, of which was, to me at the time, I don't know why, just it totally devastated. And then, of course, from the mastectomy, I would need to have an oncologist. And that was a big question mark as to what would happen when I went to see the oncologist. And we saw an oncologist and then we went for a second opinion in New York City at NYU and was told that my results would be very good. The NYU said, your results are going to be good. You're going to be fine. Your numbers are wonderful. And I said, I'm not quite sure what that means. So we went back to our town. And so, yes, so I had a mastectomy and then I had reconstruction. So there were several surgeries over the
Oh,
course of the year. So then I was with a new oncologist and she was wonderful. And I ended up not having to have chemo or radiation because of the mastectomy. So my path was a lot different than some other women. Not to say it was any less difficult,
of course.
but my path was different.
Yeah.
And then it was healing. So then it was then I was on a blocker for 5 years. So and
Thank you.
when I reached 10 years, then I could dance.
Wow.
So
And I'm curious to know, in that healing journey, so after you've gone through that whole process, when you listen to the song again, I'm assuming it's a song you still listen to through that time, right? Yeah.
always, yeah,
Did it
it's
take on
it's a
any different
strengthening
meaning
song.
to
Yeah,
you?
I'm not proud. I wasn't as needy.
Hmm.
I'm not as needy and needing the strength from it as at that time I was proud because I did do it. I was titanium. I am titanium. I did it. And again, when when there was a possibility that my cancer had returned, it was like, okay, I need a little bit of a jolt. I need some strength. So I listened to the song and said, okay, I can do this. I've been that path. I know what this path is going to be. What am I going to do first? And how am I going to approach this? And how am I going to push myself through it? And it was comforted. I can do this. I know I can.
Yeah.
So
It's really interesting. Because it almost feels like, and correct me if I'm wrong, it almost feels like when you received your diagnosis, it feels like you listened to this song to give you strength when you needed it the most. And then it feels like after you went through it, it was almost listening to it to say, yeah, I'm that strong. It feels like it almost took on a different meaning before and after, or a different value to you.
Hmm.
Is that fair, do you think?
It's definitely fair because I mean, I used it to give me strength, and then it was an affirmation that it gave me strength, and I didn't realize how strong I was or could be.
It's incredible.
And again, listening to it now, I'm like, yeah, that's me. That's me. I'm proud.
Yeah, and you touched on it there. I mean, you sent me an email. I can't remember when now. I think it was maybe before Christmas or after Christmas. You just mentioned it there, saying you'd had another scare, and this song came up big time for you again. Was this something you were listening to on repeat again to just reconnect with that feeling of strength?
Yes. Yes. I think I mentioned to you that when I went in for my yearly mammogram, I was getting pretty confident. I'm going to breeze in, I'm going to breeze out because I'm good.
Mm,
And it really kind of knocked me down. What? Me? No, 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 not, this can't be right. And it's right before Christmas, and with medical, I mean, people were on vacation, things don't happen. I thought, really, this time? And it shook my core. And I
mm.
said, I need something to steady myself. I need to right this ship, and because I need to take care of things. So instead of just listening to it once in a while, it was repeat, repeat, repeat. I don't, and again, it took a while for that energy to come through that, yep, you can do this. You can do this. For
Mm.
me to actually start believing again, I can do this again. And I did. I took control. Because my oncologist called, my surgeon called, and I'm like, okay, I've looked at places in Florida. I'm thinking I have three options. I can fly home and have the test repeated. I can, you know, have the test repeated in New Jersey where I go to visit my son, or I can have it done here. Let me do some research. So I did some research. We're lucky. We're just down, I don't know, we're about 3 miles from University of Southern Florida, and they have the Moffitt Cancer Center. And I said, well, I'm going to research because they're very well known for breast cancer. And I did my
Mm.
research and said to my surgeon, make me an appointment there, get me in soon. So, I mean, I took control.
Yeah, it's quite inspirational listening to you talk, I think. I haven't been through something like that, but it must take an incredible amount of courage to, when you're in that situation, courage and presence and awareness to take control of your own situation. I imagine that's not an easy thing to do for a lot of people when what you're faced with is
I don't,
such a hugely
I don't
overwhelming situation.
in when I was diagnosed the very first time, my husband, my godchild, who's a nurse, went to many appointments because I heard blah, blah, blah. And they heard, this is what you need to do, or this is and all I heard was just noise. And I, I was not a very good advocate for myself. Luckily, they did. I mean, I came out of an appointment and said, I have no idea what he said. I have no idea
Yeah,
what they said to me. So again, had some help, but this time it was okay. Everything was clear. I heard, I read, and of course, having the internet, you're immediately researching, looking into things. So, it's a little bit more powerful now. You're empowered more now that there's research out there. So, but
of
yeah,
course.
the first time there was no courage there. I was melting down quite a bit.
Yeah. Well, you hadn't listened to Titanium enough times, maybe at that point.
No, at that point, I had not. You're right. It's
Yeah,
exactly that. At that point, I had not. It wasn't until I know it was before between just before the MRI. So it had been, yeah, it had been a while.
yeah,
I heard it. It was just happened to be, I was in the car at the right time and the right day.
yeah. It's fascinating. And yeah, it feels like no coincidence this song found you. And I'm curious, I don't know whether you've thought about this before, but you talked about the chorus before and the power of the chorus and the lyrics are saying and talking about yourself singing the chorus. I am titanium, totally understand
Hmm.
that. When you're singing the lyric, you shoot me down, who is the you? Are you singing the you towards the cancer? Are you singing the you towards life? I'm curious to know who the you is when you sing this.
Think it was the cancer that I was referring to as "You Shoot Me Down."
Mm,
Might have been a test at that time. The U, because where my headset was, just before surgery. The U was the surgery. That was such an unknown. I was shaking in my boots, thinking, how much pain is this gonna be? Because no one can tell you're thinking, "Boy, this is gonna really hurt." So the U was the surgery, the U was the MRI, the U was the doctor's appointment, whichever happened to be. Not so much life, I don't think it was life because up until then, there wasn't anything that really rocked my boat. So,
yeah.
yeah, it was mainly the big C,
The big C. And you mentioned something I
the
can
big
really
C.
relate. Yeah, you mentioned something I can really relate to there. You mentioned being a parent, which feels like just such an additional pressure of needing to be the rock for someone else whilst you're going through this. I guess the question is, do you feel this song in some way gave you something that you couldn't get from the people around you at all in your support network?
Exactly. Exactly. I didn't want to burden family with my deepest worries. I mean, I didn't want my son to know that I didn't want my son to see me cry. I didn't want my son to know how scared I was because I'm supposed to be the strong one.
Mm,
Yeah, I hid a lot of this being scared and everything. I didn't show it a lot. So the song really represented like somebody that was holding me up. So yeah, I hid a lot from people, not hid a lot. I just didn't, I kept saying I'm fine. Everything's, but I wasn't, I wasn't fine.
yeah,
And I didn't share a lot of that. I didn't share that I'm scared to death. And I didn't scare that it was gonna bother me to lose my hair or my eyebrows, and so,
yeah. And I guess this song,
yeah.
the listening, the singing, there was something in that. There was something in there of a way of maybe dealing with all these things that you were maybe holding back and trying to protect people from. This was your strength. This was your release. Yeah, that's quite a beautiful
Mhm,
relationship you have with this song, I think.
mhm. Again, my connection with the song, I don't know if it's as unique, but I know that a friend was going through some times, and I said, "Hey," she said something about, "What do?" And I said, "Hey, listen to this song. Listen to the chorus. Sing it as loud as you can." And you may so I don't I have to check in with her to see if she ever connected with the song as I did.
Mm. Yeah, that's very interesting. Sometimes it's beyond just the power of the lyrics and the power of the song. It is a very unique personal thing. So it's very interesting to see whether it would land with something with
Mhm,
someone else. Um, and is there anything else that
mhm.
you want to either say about this song or anything else that you want to speak to any other women that may be going through or may have gone through something similar to yourself?
For a while, I was advising, some other people that would be diagnosed. with cancer, with breast cancer. And some of the things that I took away from it is you have to put you first, and you can't be worried about your husband, and you can't be worried about your son, and you can't be worried about your children. You have to just put you first, because you need every bit of strength that you can, and you can't be distracted, and you can't worry about their feelings. And you have to just put your foot down and say, I need to come first. The other thing is to seek out as much information as you can. Um, it's a club nobody wants to be part of, but we are. And there's other women out there who, while I don't tell people what to do, I like to listen, because and say, what are your fears? Because sometimes you can't say to your significant other, these are my fears. But you can, I think, to someone who's been through it, because there's no judgment, and we acknowledge, yes, this is, there will be very scary things, and you've been through it. Even your doctor, if he hasn't been through it, you can't experience it. Because I know one woman said she had to have a mastectomy, and I said to her, it doesn't hurt. They have medication, because she was worried too. How painful is this going to be? And it was nice to know that, the pain was well taken care of. So, wish someone had told me that. So, um, seek out others who have been in your position, and find something that gives you some inner strength.
Great advice. Colleen, we're starting to come towards the end of the conversation here. But before we do, I would just like to say, looking back on what we shared, the song, the story, the memories, is there anything that particularly stands out for you right now?
I've just right now just had a real deep sense of relief. It's like when I hear the song now again, I think that was me. I was empowered. I feel relief, and luckily it's going to always, I think it's always going to be my go-to.
Well, it's an inspiring story, and I do get the feeling that you might actually be made of titanium. But thank you very much for bringing this song. I think we should thank David Guetta and Sia for making this song, for the song finding you when you needed it most. But yeah, thank you for bringing yourself so openly. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed talking with you, and give Jim a call.
I will do. Enjoy that Florida sun.
Thank you. I will.
It's our time. It's our time. It's our time.